Vicky on the Fairly Odd Parents. Clifford, where are you?
Jeepers, Daphne Blake on Scooby-Doo for 26 years. And my favorite is
Azula from Avatar: The Last Airbender. My own mother thought I was a monster. She was right, of course, but it still hurt.
Over 2,000 characters. One of the most iconic voice actors of all time. Grammy-winning artist, comedian. Does literally everything. It's literally insane. I was looking on Wikipedia right now. It says 2058. I'm sure it's going up every single day. You've done so many characters, but how many auditions do you think you did until you landed your first role?
I think because a lot of celebrities, they can do themselves very well, but if somebody has a really distinctive voice, they can't do the kid and the grandma and the lady on the streets.
Would you say that being a voice actor can be lonely?
I don't really watch television much. You know, I watch like murder shows, and I'm just doing research just to protect myself from being murdered.
What is your most difficult voice to do?
He had been Joker when I was Catwoman.
Meow, I'm Catwoman. Oh, on all the Arkham City games.
So I kind of forgot that he was Oz. I was like, oh yeah, that was Mark. Oh my God. I got in late on The Simpsons, so I just get like scale plus 10, which is actually, no, I think I get double scale. Oh, scale.
What does that mean?
Oh, scale is like the least amount of money they can pay you. Can we talk about anything on this thing?
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Welcome back to Behind the Wall. So excited today because we have multi-talented, one of the most iconic voice actors of all time, Grammy-winning artist, comedian, does literally everything. It's literally insane. I was looking at your story, and there's just too much. There's too much. Over 2,000 characters on Wikipedia right now. It says 2058. I'm sure it's going up every single day. The one, the only, DeLisle.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to be here behind the wall. Here we are. We're behind the wall. They can't see us. It's so funny when you said it, over 2,000, because there's like an old Wikipedia thing or people say 1,500 and counting, and I'm empty inside, so I need the validation. So I really want to go, it's actually over 2,000, but then you can't do that. That's totally douchey. You can't say that. So I just sit on it and think, but then I thought, don't say that, great. That would be really a bad look. But then you said it, so I was like, he knows, he said it.
I'm glad it's updated, so I didn't get it wrong. But incredible. I tried going all the way back. I tried seeing it, all the characters you played. It's just incredible. For anyone who may not know who you are or who do know who you are, what are some of the characters they would know you from?
Wow, when everybody was babies, and they still run it into the ground because they paid us a buyout fee for Clifford the Big Red Dog, so they can run it forever. But
Clifford, where are you? Emily Elizabeth. And Vicky on the Fairly Odd Parents. You little twerp. And Mandy on the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. And meow, I'm Catwoman. Oh, on all the Arkham City games, I've been a very bad kitty. And and Jeepers, Daphne Blake on Scooby-Doo for 26 years.
Incredible.
But everyone loves the most. And my favorite is
Azula from Avatar: The Last Airbender. My own mother thought I was a monster. She was right, of course, but it still hurt.
I love it. Avatar: Last Airbender, my favorite show of all time.
And it's back. Like, I can't believe how popular it is, like 20 years later.
Incredible.
We're having our 20-year anniversary next year, I think.
Did you expect the show to be as successful all these years later?
No way. And I didn't even know. This sounds like such a bad thing. I'm sure fans will be like, she doesn't care. But it's not that I don't care. It's just that I don't really watch television much. You know, I watch murder shows when I have time. But other than that, and I'm just doing research just to protect myself from being murdered. But other than that, I'm mostly just writing songs, and I'm a single mom to 3 kids. So I'm always doing stuff for them. And by the time I actually have time to watch anything, I've seen the first 3 minutes of everything. I'm just this is a good... So anyway, I don't watch things. So I hadn't even watched Avatar until a couple of years ago when my, at the time, 8-year-old said, Mom, can we watch Avatar? Because all my friends have watched it, and they said that I'm Azula's son, and so I want to see who Azula is. And I was like, okay, because I do a special thing with each of the kids. We have it's called special time, which sounds creepy, but we have special time together, except for my oldest just went to college, so his special time's over. But yeah, so we watched Avatar, and I was like, this is so good. No wonder everybody loves this show. But honestly, I didn't even know that I even played Azula until one of my really good friends, Tara Strong, does those conventions every weekend. And so this was 10 years ago, but she said, you should come and do these conventions. It's great. And I was at the time just trying to, I'm always trying to hustle a little bit to the single mom thing. And I was like, well, she's like, it's a good way to make extra money. So I went, and it was a pony convention. I was like, you're just trying to humiliate me because I didn't play any ponies. I did do a Derpy, like a fan video of Derpy once and it was an amazing fan video. It looked amazing. But anyway, I did that, but that's like as close as I got to the ponies. But I said, you're just trying to be more popular than I am and just like humiliate me in front. And she was laughing, but she's like, no, you should go. And so I'm sitting there all by myself. Her line is like around the building. And I'm like, gosh darn it, I can't believe I let her talk me into this. How embarrassing. And then someone came up and went, were you Azula on Avatar: The Last Airbender? And I was like, I think so, yeah. And they were like, they were like, oh my God, yeah, you are. And then they started getting all these people. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I mean, I remember that show. I mean, just vaguely, I mostly remember that that one of my favorite Henry Rollins punk rock singer was like played my boyfriend on it. And so I was like, I couldn't wait to get to the sessions. He's it all anyway. But and I was texting all my girlfriends from high school going, oh my God, Henry Rollins, he's at Nickelodeon right now and he's playing my boyfriend on this show. Anyway, so
That's insane.
So, but no, I didn't know how popular. I'm just out of touch with what's going on in cartoons. I'm in them.
Yeah, you're in them.
I'm in them.
You're in so many of them. It's probably hard for you to keep up with everything you're in. My first question for you is, were you was the role to get Azula like an easy role? Was it like, did it come to you right away?
I think they started with voiceover people, and then they went on to a lot of on-camera people. Because, there's a lot of famous-y type people on the show. They didn't use at all voiceover people.
Shout
they
out
used
Dante.
like JK. Yeah,
Shout
like
out
JK.
Mark Hamill.
I know. I mean, they let us have a shot, but then I think they went on to look for more on-camera people because I read for it and then didn't hear anything about it for months and months, which never happens. I'd kind of forgotten about it. Then I got a call back and I was like, oh, well, that show, that was good, and the engineer has told me, but I don't know if it's true or not, but he said that I was the only person who did it really creepily and like quiet and didn't yell because a lot of the ladies were going, do the tides come out of this ship? Blah, 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 and I was just like, I thought it would just be way scarier if she was just like
menacing,
so sociopathic. Yeah, just like, because it's the quiet ones you have to look out for. But I also thought like if you're yelling all the time, there's nothing to build to. You have to give yourself a room to grow. And I wanted, since it was the first scene, I thought like let's just hint at it and be creepy, and then because then she'll have somewhere to go and build to later. But yeah, so I was like, do the tides command this ship? And maybe let's worry less about the tides who've already made up their mind about killing you, and worry more about me who's still mulling it over. Anyway, so.
How do you go about the process of coming up with a voice like Azula?
Well, I actually had played Padme Amidala in Genndy Tartakovsky's original Clone Wars series for Cartoon Network, and I used a voice for Padme that was a little bit like this, Senator Palpatine, I need to speak with you. So I kind of thought like I like that as a sort of a princess kind of voice. It's kind of a privileged sort of spoiled voice, but she's also very much in command, and she doesn't need to do much because she's so powerful. She doesn't need to. So I only got to, because Gendy's scripts are about 2 pages long for like 20 minutes because it's all visual. So I only got to say like maybe 10 lines as Padme, but I was like, dang, I want to use that princess voice some more. So I read for that and I was like, and it sounds just like Azula, only Padme sounds a little younger, but.
You are like so talented, like even right now during this interview.
The beginning of this sentence.
When it came to switching between the voices that you have, when you do them, do you see them in your head?
Yes. I feel like my face looks like whatever I'm doing.
Do you like have different placements for your mouth that you go? It's kind of like being a singer in a sense, like singing different songs, I guess.
But I don't think about, like I just did a show in Dallas and one of the people in the audience was a voice coach, which I've never really
like a vocal coach,
like a vocal coach. Yeah, and she was like, so the placement of what, and I'm like, I have no idea what the placement is. I just like put the face on, in my brain, and then so like from doing like a 14-year-old, like a skater kid or whatever, like I don't know, I just like see his face like kind of on my face and stuff. I'm like, so like I'll just like shred or whatever with my friends, and I don't know, I just see his face.
And when I play a little old lady, I just see myself as a little old lady, and so. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'm not thinking, put it in your back of your throat.
But you see it. It's very visual, it sounds like.
I just see myself as that person. So, yeah.
That's so interesting. Like, you've had so much success, but was it when you first started, did you mean to become into the world of entertainment?
I mean, I from the time I could talk, I wanted to be in front of people. Like we would go to restaurants. If there was a stage and a microphone, I would try to get up there and try to talk. You know, every time I was always singing songs for people and just like I was foisting my entertainment on people. My grandma was, I was raised by my grandma, but she was always going, Mijita, you know, like you're bothering people. Like at restaurants, I was always bothering people. And I bothered people I still bother people a lot. But I in elementary school, like I think it was kindergarten, they had us do like a letter for our name and then what we wanted to do as a job. And my real first name is Erin. Gray is my middle name, but I changed it when I moved to LA because it was just too confusing. So it was Erin, so it was E. So I put Erin the Entertainer, you know, and it's funny because people go, it's so funny how prophetic that was because you're not just a singer or a voice person or a comic, you know, you are an entertainer. So I don't know. It's just kind of funny that at 4.5 or 5, I kind of I knew that I wanted that. Like if the news came by or something like local news, I was like, we got to get on the local news. And my family did Family Feud when I was like 14.
Oh, wow.
And so there's clips of that on YouTube where So I did impressions all the time. So I did the Wizard of Oz and I was thinking like, okay, Hollywood, you know, like, where are you? They're not going to let me leave here.
Did you do the impressions on Family Feud?
Yeah, on Family Feud. Yeah, they let me do them on the whole break, and yeah, you can. It's online. It's online, folks. You can look it up on YouTube. But yeah, I always wanted to do that. I didn't think it was really. I never dreamt that I would actually really have much success. But I always thought, I don't care if I have to live under a bridge as long as I'm doing that. You know, that's all that matters. I just need to be doing that, you know. So that's why when some people say, like, should I quit? You know, should I not do this anymore? I'm not sure. I'm not having, or they go, I want to get into it to have money or whatever. I just think, it's not you need to go into it just balls to the wall.
100%.
Like, you know, just like whatever happens, I'm doing this, you know.
When I first started making content, it took me 150 videos to go like viral and then like 3,500 videos to even figure out what the heck I was doing.
That's good. See, but I always say, and I tell people, if you do one little thing toward your goal every day, at the end of the year, you'll have done, 365 things toward your goal. So, and you will be closer to your goal, even if it's just minuscule, but it will happen. I mean, you will get there somehow.
So what you've done so many characters, but how many auditions do you think you did until you landed your first role?
Okay, well, I'm gonna mess up our whole thing that we were just talking about. It's like, you got to keep trying. But I was ready to not be successful. I really was. Like, and my agent prepared me. She was like, look, this is a really hard job to break into. I believe in you completely. I'm not gonna abandon you or go anywhere. But I'm telling you, it takes people years and years and years of just getting called back for them to trust you, because these, directors, if they bring somebody in who tanks, they're just like risking their entire career. All the producers are counting on this casting person, and usually the people who cast it also direct. So if they bring someone in who just flails and doesn't do, it's like the producers are like, okay, maybe we won't hire this casting person anymore. They're bringing in people who don't know what they're doing. So they'll, you'll be in the top 5. If they keep seeing your name come up and go, okay, so they're still auditioning, they're still consistently good, and they're making it to the top. Okay, we're going to finally give them a shot with this part. And if it doesn't, and they'll give you like a few lines to start out and see if you show up on time, if you do it okay, if you're not weird. Because there have been people, I am a little weird, but in a good way. But there are people that come and they're really talented, but they have like kind of a bad attitude, or they want to like argue about, well, that's what I did. Or, if they get directed, they get defensive. There's just so many, acting attracts quite a lot of personalities,
True.
So there are people that I'm like, oh no, you're really good, but I'm never going to see you again because you were snotty. So that's the end of that. So yeah, but I don't see. I have ADHD, so I don't remember what we were talking.
It was like your first.
Role. So I signed with my agent, and then she said it's going to take a long time to get anything. It could be years.
Yeah.
And then the first month, I got 7 jobs. Like,
wow.
And so she was like, "This is like unbelievable." And can we talk about anything on this thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was cleaning houses, doing singing telegrams, hostessing at this Chinese restaurant called Chin Chin. And I really needed a demo tape because I was like, I know that I can do cartoon voices. Like, I just know I can. Like, I always tell people, go on, if you really want to do it, because sometimes people come up to me at the table when I'm signing on weekends at those conventions,
Yeah.
like, and they go, "I really want to do voiceover," and I'm like, "Okay, well, what are you doing? Like, are you in shows? Are you in acting classes? Are you?" And they're like, "Well, no, not really." And I'm like, "Okay, well, do some voices for me." And they're like, "Oh, well, right now, okay, I don't know. This is," and I'm like, I think to myself, "You're not gonna do it," because like you need to be able to go, like, I'm doing all these things, and oh, you want voices? Here's 20 right now. I mean, just you need to be able to be. Like if not that I have no power to. So if you think that I'm going to help you do something, like I've helped a few people just by like, telling them what to do or where to go. Do you know Anna Brisbane, she's Brizzy Voices on YouTube. She's like a voiceover person, but she had tons of subscribers at a time for a while, and she did like a whole segment on. She would do different voice actors and do all their roles, like she would do all their voices, which was amazing, and they went viral and all that. But I made friends with her online, and then I said, "Hey, come out to LA. If you come out here," well, first I said, "Do these, that, and this," and she did all the things. Then I said, "Okay, now come out here, and I will take you around with me to where I audition, and you can just watch me do it. I can't get you an agent, but I can definitely show you kind of what you need to do, and I can, if you make a demo, I can try to get it to the right people." But of all the people I talked to, like 1 out of 500 ever does all the things. They kind of just want it just to come to them. But so I did help her.
It sounds like you've done a ton leading up to getting the first role. Like you've worked a lot of jobs.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So that's what I was saying. So I was cleaning houses, doing the things. But a demo tape was like $800. It's still around the same price. And this
Demo
was
tape
like,
for like songwriting?
no, demo tape for voiceover, like with all the different voices. It was like $800 something. And now I think they're like $1,000 for a good one.
Okay.
But people make them in their basement, and I'm like, worth every penny. Anyway, but my friend goes, there's an amateur contest at Deja Vu, the strip club down there, and and you get $1,500 if you win. And I'm like the most modest. Like I'm just like, even at slumber parties, like I was like, oh God, there's women who walk around at the gym with just naked. I'm always like, so I that didn't seem like it could be in my wheelhouse. But the more desperate I got for that demo tape, I was like, $1,500. I was like, maybe if I talked to the people, I feel like I could charm them. So I showed up to the place like really early, and I talked to every guy in there. And I was like, look, I want to do voiceovers. And they're like, what's that? And I'm like, it's cartoon voices. And they're like, oh, okay. And I'm like, so I need you to clap for me no matter what happens. And they were like, all right, we'll do some voices. Let's see. So I did. I was like,
I could be like a little girl.
Or I could be a little old lady, or I could be a British queen or something. You don't know, darling.
I was doing all these voices and stuff. And they were like, whoa, that's amazing. Okay. And they would like they're like, okay, we're voting for her no matter what happens, and I'm like, okay. So I had that room talk to like everyone in there. So, and I didn't look I had like Target underwear that I thought were like, oh my God, they're so naughty. It's thong underwear. Oh my God. And these other ladies had like the whole 9 yards, sparklers, like they could do cartwheel. They were, and they're not amateurs. They call it amateur night, but they're not amateurs. They like tour around to make a good amount of money in like an hour. Yeah. So boy, were they surprised when they were like, this person? No, not much. How about this amazing person? Nope. How about... It got to me, and my hair was like really messy curls. I'm half Mexican and half Irish, and so I had this like Mexican fro going in, like my Target underwear, and I just was not the cutest one there. The place went friggin' bananas, and so I got $1,500, and then I was thinking, man, I could, I could work here. I'm good at like talking to people,
okay.
So I don't know. And I always say it's like, if I leave an audition situation, not in a sexual way, I'm always nice to everybody. And if I don't get the job, some people go, they've called me in like 5 times and I'm not going in there anymore. They're, and it's like, it takes a while. Even I still audition all the time, and I've been doing this for 30 years. But I'm always nice to everybody. No hard feelings. There's so many things that go into play about casting. But when I said it's like I learned a lot as a stripper, because you come up and go, would you like a lap dance? And if they say no, some women would just go and walk away. But I would go, oh, okay, well, just whenever, if you ever, before you leave, here I am. And then sometimes they would go, you know what, you were fun, you were sweet, let's do a lap dance. And I'm this is probably not a good era to be talking about this, because it's not very, I am a feminist, but and I'm sex positive. So, but I just felt like it's I learned a lot because,
Definitely.
you know, you have to keep the bridge open. And with casting directors, they're like, some people just get mad at me for not casting them. And then they're like mad at me. And I don't want to bring someone in who's mad at me. And I'm always like, bring me, I'll come in 100 times. I don't care. We're still friends, you know, and it's just someday the stars are going to align. That happened with Doc McStuffins. They had like, I probably read for them like 40 times before they finally gave me something.
That's crazy.
But I knew people that were like, I'm not reading on that anymore. They don't want me. And I'm like,
Well, your personality seems very like magnetic, energetic. You seem very friendly,
I talk a lot.
which is very helpful. Being a voice actor, I gotta tell you.
My dad goes, we used to pay you to shut up, and now they pay you to talk. Because he really would go like, I'll give you $1. Please stop talking. Because I'm a little hyper, and the ADD is strong.
I did hear a story. It's interesting you brought up because I think you've done a lot to get to where you are now. And one of the stories that really stuck out to me was you had a story with Tupac. Is that correct?
At the strip club.
What?
Yeah,
Tell me that story.
Well, I had no idea who he was. He would come in all the time and I was singing. Oh yeah. So I was like, well, I'm not the cutest one and I'm not a good dancer, but I can sing. So I was like, I'll get a karaoke tape and I'll sing. So I had like, fans and like fun little things and I would sing. Like I would do, are we allowed to? Well, anyway, Duke Ellington, like, miss the Saturday dance. Heard they crowded the floor. Awful different without you. Don't get around much anymore. So I would do sort of like 1940s kind of stuff, Anyway, he loved it. And he would like throw $100 bills at me. And I was like, oh my God, that guy is so nice. But then when I go backstage, a lot of the girls would be like, oh my God, Tupac Shakur's here, Tupac Shakur's here. And since I told you, I'm out of the loop on everything like pop culturally that's happening. I kind of get it in the ether. Like I know there was a boxing match. I didn't really know all the details that happened the other day. But anyway. But so I thought they were talking about Deepak Chopra. I was like, that's kind of sad that like inspirational writers at a strip club. I guess it just goes to show, that I just kind of forgot about it. And then and he would always say like, you got a great voice. What are you doing? Are you singing something else? And I'm like, yeah, I sing and I have a band. Because I did have a band and anyway, he was just really, really sweet and so and not like rapperish. Like he was always in really nice clothes, but it wasn't like rapper clothes. It was nice clothes. Anyway, but then when he died, I saw his face on the news, and I was like, I know that guy. And my friend's like, yeah, no, duh. You're like, that's Tupac Shakur, and I was like, no, I know that. I've like met him. I've talked to him, and then I was like, Tupac Shakur. Oh my gosh! I was like, that's the name that everybody was saying when they would get all excited when he would come in. Anyway,
that's crazy.
So weird.
That's insane.
Yeah, I told my son when he graduated from high school, I was like, okay, I can tell you the Tupac story because he had a Tupac shirt on at one time, and I was like, I'll tell you that later.
So. You've worked all these jobs. You get the demo tape. What is the first role that really changes everything?
Well, I got it was just a pilot for Disney because it was sort of like a catch-22. Like if you haven't done it before, then you can't do it before. So they were like, oh well, she's they were like, she hasn't done anything before. Why would we have her in on this? It's like, yeah, but you haven't given her a chance to do anything, so how is she supposed to do something if she, anyway, it was just a thing. It was just annoying. So my agent said, just go to this audition. They won't see you because they don't know you. And, and I told them that you're talented. So just go to this audition and just say that, it was some kind of mix up. So I could tell they were a little like, mix up, but they let me read on it, and then I ended up booking it. It was a show called Penny Dreadful. I know there's another Penny Dreadful. This was just a cartoon Penny Dreadful, but anyway, so I got that, and then after I got that, it was a Disney thing. So then my agent was able to go like, she's working. She just did a job for Disney, and then after that, they're like, we want to see her. Why haven't we seen her? So then I got Reptar on the Rugrats.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was like right out, and then all those Oh Yeah cartoon things came out on Nickelodeon. So I got like 5 of those, and a bunch of them turned into series. So I was like, so I was at the strip club, and I was like, this probably isn't so great for my spirit. After about a month, I was like, I don't know if I really want to keep doing this, but it was great money, and I got a car. I had no car in LA. I was always like bumming rides off a boyfriend or like a friend. I was the person that people avoided at the end of things of like, oh no, she's going to ask me for a ride. I get those hungry eyes. You happen to be going to North Hollywood? Anyway. I
also do that.
And everybody always is like, I'm going to Santa Monica. Anyway. But so I I got a car, I put some money away, like I got an apartment, with a friend, and I was like, I'm set up. And it was only a month of doing the pole job. But I was like, this is kind of demoralizing. And so I told, I'm not like, it's going to seem like I'm super religious, but no, I was just like, but God, if you just like let things happen for me in voiceover where I can just pay my bills, I don't need to be rich, but if I can just pay my bills, I won't come back here and do this ever again. And then that was when the Oh Yeah cartoons, like 3 of them happened. And yeah. Are you annoyed about the person that kept walking in here? You seem like you might be. It was pretty distracting.
It was a bit distracting.
I almost stopped and addressed it because as a theater person, you always have to like address the thing in the room that's like if somebody drops a hat or something and you don't acknowledge it, then the audience is like, are they going to acknowledge the hat?
Are they going to acknowledge
So
the hat?
yeah,
being
so you
dropped?
kind of just have to, or like if a dog's breathing like on, or just something, you have to go, I have a bulldog. Anyway, then people can just go, okay, that's the bulldog. Okay, that's the hat. So anyway, everybody, someone walked in here. It was kind of annoying, but they're gone now.
Thank you, Gray.
I just saw your side eye happening.
Okay. One of my favorite shows also is Fairly Odd Parents.
Yes.
And you did Vicky, but you also like shout out Icky Vicky. You have your own song, Icky Vicky, Chip Skylark.
Yes.
It's also sung by one of like NSYNC's own Chris Kirkpatrick.
I've met that guy at cons. He's the sweetest guy. I love him. We've done like little TikToks together. God, old lady time. Anyway, but yeah, we've done little videos together and stuff.
Your voice is in the theme song for it too, so that's probably really fun.
Twerp.
I don't get paid anything extra for that thing.
Aw.
I know, you would think. I hear those old time stories where like, and I did one, thing.
Yeah, like
and
Danny Elfman talks about with The Simpsons, how that like one thing like is good for like
Yeah.
30 years of.
The Simpsons people, I got in late on The Simpsons, so I just get like scale plus 10, which is actually, no, I think I get
What is
double
that?
scale. Oh, scale.
What does that mean?
Oh, scale is like the least amount of money they can pay you, which I think is like $1,000.
Scale plus
10% for your agent.
Oh,
Yeah. So
interesting.
I think I do get more than, I think I get like a little more, but people are always like, you're on The Simpsons. And then they've read a People magazine article or something about how much they make. And they're like, and I mean, I'm not poor by any means, but I'm not making that Nancy Cartwright money. That's okay. She got in so long ago. She deserves it.
But you also played like 20. Looked at it. You played like 28 other characters on the show.
Oh, yeah.
Vicky's sister's Tootie.
Yes. Oh, Timmy, I love you so much.
And the Tooth Fairy, which sounds very much like Catwoman.
And Mrs. Waxelplax, the principal of the school.
Yes.
Yes.
And also like Chad.
Well, yeah, Chad, like, he's like a dude, bro.
Do you base your characters off of other characters or people you know, or do you just come up with them?
Sometimes people I know, like on The Loud House,
I play Lola on the Loud House.
And I play Lana, her sister, who's like fixing cars and stuff.
And I play Lily the baby.
And I play Cheryl, who works in the office. And I know a lady named Joe Nicodemus in Dallas, Texas, and that's who I fashioned her after. That's the first time I've ever mentioned Joe. I hope she's still alive. And I play Mrs. Bernardo, the acting teacher who I fashioned after my acting teacher, Gail Fury Childs, at SCPA Theatre Fest.
and anyway, so
and I play Coach Keck, who kind of sounds like that. And I have a friend in Bakersfield who sounds kind of like Coach Keck. She's from Chicago.
anyway, so like, I don't know. Yeah, there's sometimes or I'll even be at a restaurant and listen to somebody talking like in another booth. My son always calls it I just get like a kind of a glazed look on my face because I'm taking in whatever's going on over here. And he's like, and what are you doing? What are you listening to right now? And I'm like, what? And he's like, where are you right now? And I was like, oh, that lady's got a great laugh. I've got to use that. Or she's got a great accent. I wonder where she's from, so.
Do you work on every character's laugh as well? Is that
That's how I start out a lot of times.
Oh,
yeah, like
interesting.
with Vicky, because I feel like it's such an authentic expression of like this. It's like my grandmother she said these cutting things to me when I was little, even though she was a wonderful person, but grandmothers are a little extra tough on you. So they're extra loving, but they're also extra tough. So my grandma would go, "Ay, mijita, nobody's ever going to love you with that big, ugly laugh. You have a big, ugly laugh." And it's so terrible. Like your laugh is like the heart of who you are.
Yeah.
So every time I laugh, I think
That's where your joy
It is pretty
comes
bad. It
from.
is sometimes though. When I'm in like really laughing, like at a movie, sometimes I go, "Oh my God, who's that?" And then I'm like, "Oh my God, it's me." But so when I see a character like Vicky had, like when she was drawn, she was sort of like,
Like she had like a look like and so I was like and then I like that.
So the pictures that they show you when the animators usually give you a picture when you're reading on something.
Yeah.
And it's so helpful. So
Over the last few years, I've sat down with some of the greatest minds in all of music, and they've told me stories and given me some of the best tips that changed my entire perspective on creating. And I'm looking to give that to you because I'm hoping that it can help you just as much as it helped me. My goal with Behind the Wall is to shine a light on the people and stories behind music, movies, and media. It's to inspire the next generation of creatives, but it's also to create the platform that I wish I had when I first started making music, when I first started being creative, when I first started making videos. Behind the Wall has taught me so much on this journey, and I want to take these lessons that I've learned and help the next generation. So I put together 15 of the most important and impactful lessons that I've learned on my own journey from these people directly, from some of the greatest minds in all of music. People like Chris Martin of Coldplay, Benny Blanco, Ryan Tedder, Julia Michaels, Amy Allen, Bonnie McKee, Savin Kotecha. So many of the greatest minds in all of music, people that I had the pleasure and privilege of interviewing. People like Ryan Tedder, who gave me one of the greatest pieces of advice that helped me on my own journey. People like Benny Blanco, who changed my entire perspective 6 years into making music. People like Marshmello, who taught me that as long as something sounds good to you, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. And I'm looking to pass this knowledge on to you, which will be 15 lessons from the greatest minds in music, which will be in the description completely for free. And now let's return to Behind the Wall. Is when you're in the process of like doing voiceover work, voice acting and everything like that, has the process been very different as it was back in the day versus where it is now?
It's totally different now. Like, honestly, I'm one of the only, I had a studio in my garage for a while during the pandemic because like everybody started working at home and then everybody moved. Like a lot of people live in other states now because it's so expensive to live in LA.
Yeah.
So I would have moved too, but my kids love their school and they've got like such a great community of people there. But yeah, but I just recently started going in again because Mike Judge wanted us to come out to Santa Monica for King of the Hill, and I was like, Santa Monica, it takes me an hour to get here, even though I love it now. That's what spurned it. I came out here and I was like, it's beautiful. I would have been in my garage with my robe on. And now I'm like at the beach. I could eat some lunch out here. I was like eating lunch on the beach going, it's right here. Why don't I do this every day? I'm going to go in. So I told my agent, hey, I'm going to start going into the studio again. And she was like, that's great. And so I get my little coffee, turn on my favorite podcast and drive. And it's just, I'm living again. I used to just eat my lunch like hunched over the sink in my robe and then go back into my dark, sad garage.
Well, that's great.
And then go pick up my kids from school in my robe. And I had one outdoor outfit that like laid on a chair near the, like in case I had to leave first, if I had to see people, I'd be like, well, this week's outdoor outfit is laying by but mostly I would just stay in my car because the school pickup is just you stay in your car. You just go through the little line and your kids jump in, and I wasn't living. I used to get dressed. I got dressed up, but people used to always be like, oh my God, where are you going? And I'm like, to a job where no one sees me. But I just like to dress up.
Would you say that being a voice actor can be lonely at times? Are you like with other people, like recording?
We used to be we used to go to Nickelodeon and do it all together. Now I go to Nickelodeon.
So fun.
I know, but now we all mostly record separate. And if you're not alone in your garage, I go to the studio, but I'm still by myself.
Did you record Avatar all together?
We would do like smaller groups. So whoever was in the scene, but sometimes I'd be on my own because there were so many famous people and it was hard to get them to record when we were recording.
Yeah.
But I would see people occasionally, and I got to see Henry Rollins. That was all that mattered. So they would do like smaller groups, like me and Katara and Dante, and then me, just it would be like 3-4 people, whoever in the scene. So I recorded with Olivia a lot, and Cricket, the 3 bad girls. We would record together a lot. So, yeah, it's been so great having a reunion with them too, because now they're like a big part of my, like they were just girls that I had met in the lobby, and we would like chit chat and stuff and go in and do our stuff, and then it was like bye. We never got really close. We liked each other, but we were never really close. Now we're like, I know every part of their lives, divorces, like new dates, like whatever they're doing, happy marriages, because we see each other almost every weekend doing those conventions.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Conventions seem to be a big part of
It's like its own job
everything
now. Yeah, I'm gonna milk this Avatar thing as long because I don't think it. I think maybe 10 more years, maybe 5 more years of it being like it is now. Because with the people were afraid of the on-camera thing that was like they're gonna take all of. I was like, no, it's gonna make it bigger than ever because people are gonna watch that and then somebody's gonna go, you got to see you haven't seen the animated series, you got to watch that, or people will be like. We should watch the animated series again. Or, I just said it's only good for business. And also the actors from that show are so sweet. I've met all those on-camera people too, because we see them at the conventions.
Yeah.
And the Azula is adorable. I love her so much.
Love that.
Yeah.
It sounds like Avatar had a huge impact on you. Would you say that Azula's one of your favorite characters you've ever voiced?
Yeah, now, and because she's such a big part of my life, and every weekend I see how much joy and misery she's brought to people. One thing funny about Lizzie, the woman who played Azula in the on-camera thing, we did a TikTok, and she, she's like, "Hi, I'm Elizabeth Yu, and I play Azula on Avatar: The Last Airbender." And then I popped in and went, and I had my Azula crown on, and I was like,
Don't flatter yourself. You were never even a player.
and somebody was like, "Oh my god, that cosplayer sounds like the original Azula."
Wow.
Cosplayer. Anyway, but it was funny. Yeah. But yeah, no, Azula's been so good to me because, and I mean, the stories people come, I really think it's the best cartoon ever made.
100%.
I do
I'd say
think-
it's the best show of all time. Not even like
Animated, like
everything.
yes, yeah.
Everything there is.
Yes.
The
storyline's incredible. The research that went into it, the animation's incredible. The music, the look of it, it's beautiful. Even if you
100%.
just have the sound off, it's just calming it's like chicken soup for the soul. I mean, people say like when I'm stressed, I put on Avatar, or we watch it 2 or 3 times a year. I mean, families are like, we watch it several times a year or just all together. It's just calming. It brings us together. People are like, I wasn't talking to my brother, and then we watched this show and it like
incredible.
changed our lives. And
Wow.
yeah, it's amazing.
I'm sure you get asked this question all the time, but like, what is the line that people ask you to say the most as Azula?
The sharp outfit line.
That's a sharp outfit. Sharp enough to puncture the hull of an Empire-class Fire Nation battleship, leaving thousands to drown at sea because it's so sharp.
Iconic. That's incredible. So, one of my favorite characters on the show is, of course, Zuko and Uncle Iroh.
Yes.
He's a quitter and a loser, but whatever. Uncle Iroh.
Working with like legends like Dante, with legends like Mark Hamill and even Mako.
Yeah.
How was that? What was that like?
Well, I had worked with Mark for years and years before that. And we did a terrible show called Danger Rangers together. And also he had been Joker when I was Catwoman. So I knew him really well. And we never worked together at Nickelodeon. Like when we didn't hardly ever worked together on Avatar. So I kind of forgot that he was Oz. I was like, oh yeah, that was Mark. Oh my God. It was funny. When we were doing this really crappy show called Danger Rangers, it was a really low budget thing. They actually didn't pay us for a while, and it was like a big problem. But they had big people on it, like Mark, and because a friend of ours was some kind of producer on it, and he kind of like got us in on it. He felt terrible that we didn't get paid, but anyway, at one point they had action figures made for Danger Rangers, and they went up to Mark, and they were talking to all of us, but they're like, "Look at how cool! We got these action figures." And to Mark, they were like, "Did you ever think you'd be an action figure?" And I was like, at first I thought like, oh, how funny. That's a funny joke. And then I was thinking, I don't think he's kidding. Mark was so nice about it too. He's like, it's pretty amazing. I was like, he is the quintessential. He was probably the first action figure.
100%.
Yeah. Anyway, it was funny.
Incredible.
But yeah. Well, I don't know. You have to keep me on task.
How was it like working with? My
Oh, and then Dante. Yes.
Dante and then Mako. I've like
Oh yes.
one of the most iconic voices ever. Like my favorite episode of all time is when Uncle Iroh has his whole day dedicated to his son.
Yeah.
And absolutely adore it. How was it like working with Dante and Mako?
Well, I knew Dante before too, and I adore him, and it's so funny because I married a guy that was much younger. He's the father of my 2 youngest kids, and Hook is his favorite movie. So we ran into Dante in Vegas, and I didn't even think about Hook, but I was like, "Oh my God, hi! What are you doing?" And we were talking, and then we took a picture in front of like at hotel, like Fire Nation reunion, or just like something weird for Instagram or whatever. And he was like, "I can't believe you know Rufio."
Rufio.
And he thought of him as Rufio and not, not.
That's an iconic film too.
Yeah, I know. Oh gosh, because he set up our cable at home, and I had to call for some problem with our cable, and they were like, well, I couldn't get into our account because I didn't have the password, and they're like, well, okay, there are these key questions. What was your favorite movie? And I was like, and I said what my favorite. I was like Annie Hall, and they were like, no, it's not that. And I was like, because I couldn't remember that I didn't set up the account, and then I was like, oh, I think my husband set this up. Is it Hook? And she was like, yes. And I go, okay, just so you know, that's not my favorite movie of all time. It's not a terrible movie. It's just.
What is your favorite movie of all time?
Annie Hall.
Okay.
Even though Woody Allen did some terrible. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, but it's not a popular answer.
I just remembered the episode title, Tales of Bus and Say. It escaped my mind for a second.
Yeah. I try to I was just thinking, I try to separate the creator from the art a lot of times because there's so many. Like, I love Harry Potter. I'm such a Harry Potter head. And then I think about the terrible things that J.K. Rowling has said. And I'm just like, okay, let's not think about her. And I don't buy anything like firsthand that would go to her. So we were reading the books at home with my kids, but we got them secondhand from people. So I was like, no money went back to J.K. Rowling. But I can't give it up. I love those characters. Anyway.
They're iconic characters.
I can't quit them.
And you have played some iconic characters
You're like,
too,
let's
though.
bring it back around. I keep going, what's down this road?
Are there any characters that you weren't supposed to play, but then got?
Yeah, DeLisle Briarwood on Vox Machina, the Critical Role series. Yeah, I those guys are my friends. Those people are my friends, and I just love them so much. And it was the pandemic, and they were like, we hired this on-camera actress, and she can't make it into the studio because the world was ending. And they're like, do you have a studio? Could you just do Scratch for us so we could animate this? And I was like, yeah, I do Scratch all the time. Yeah. And it has been the best thing. I have so many friends who are really successful who are like, Scratch, I'm too good for that.
Yeah, tell me about Scratch vocals. What does that mean?
Oh, yeah,
exactly?
It means you just you read in and they record you as the character, and then the animators animate to you, and then it gives them time to either find a famous person, usually, to come in and just do ADR to whatever you did. ADR, which is additional dialogue recording. So they just come in and watch your lips and try to match your lips. But animation takes so long that it gives them a head start. They can get going on the production before, if they still haven't found the voice. So they had found this woman. She couldn't come in. And then so I was just playing DeLisle, and I was like, I love this character. It's so good. And I hadn't read anything that was that well written since Azula, a good villain like that. And then I was like, at one point I was like, God, this might be some of the best acting I've ever done. And then I was like, and I forgot, nobody's going to hear it. It's going to be on the cutting room floor. And then Sam Riegel, my really good friend, called one day and he was like, Gray, I have to tell you something. Amazon loves what you did, and they're just going to keep you in it, and they're going to let the other lady go. Because she never did come in. So I was like, I started sobbing. I was like, oh my gosh, I love her. I love DeLisle. I'm so glad I get to keep her. So yeah.
I would assume Scratch vocals is a great way to potentially get roles that you wouldn't get otherwise.
People are always like, how did you get the part in films? Because they used to cast voiceover people in big parts in Disney movies and stuff, but now it's mostly celebrities. And so
for marketing reasons,
I guess they just think they're going to talk about it on a talk show or something, even though kids don't care. And I've seen them on talk shows even when they're about to open a big movie and they do not talk about it. So I'm like, I don't think it's doing anything. I think you're just wasting a ton of money on hiring that person for probably $1 million when you could have gotten us for like $2,000. Anyway, but I'm very anti, unless they're really good. Some of them are really, really good, but some of them it's like, oh my God, you ruined the whole movie. Anyway, but I did all of Maya Rudolph's, and Maya was great in Mitchell's versus the Machines, but I did the mom and that. Yeah. And then, but they left me in when she's freaking out and fighting the robots and stuff. That was all me.
Oh, wow.
So my kids were like, that's you. That's still you. And I was like, they kept my screams. Anyway. So, and then in the Book of Life, I did all the female characters. So everybody who got plugged in later was all just matching what I did. So Christina Applegate and all the other characters that were in there. But they let me keep the grandma. They were going to give it to some other woman. But then Guillermo del Toro said, it's not funny anymore. Let's have that other lady do it. So they kept me.
Here I was a beast in the arena. A beast!
And so I got to stay in. And then Bolt, the movie with John Travolta played that little white
Miley.
dog. I played Penny's mom in that, and that was Scratch.
Wow.
And yeah, people are always like, how'd you get that? And I'm like, I just helped them out with the scratch, which it's not like you're doing it for free. They pay you money. So I'm
Yeah.
like, does it pay money? I will do it. I'll do anything that pays money.
You also were in Invincible, right?
Yes. And that's
Monster
all
Girl.
celebrities except for me, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I would say that you're a celebrity.
Nah. I can walk down to, I'm going to go to Target after this, after I get the kids, and no one will recognize me. But no, it's like there's huge people in that. But yeah, no, I played Monster Girl and Shrinking Ray in that. And also various cyborgs. And I play the mother of I play one of the moms. And I play the Russian girlfriend of one of them. And I play I think because a lot of celebrities, they can do themselves very well, but they call it a utility character where you get hired to do like a lot of different things. So where you kind of fill in the gaps because they can't have, if somebody has a really distinctive voice, they can't do the kid and the grandma and the lady on the street. So I come in and plug in.
For a character like Monster Girl, Ice Queen, like so many, like Wow Wow Wubsy, like when you played Reptar, you have so many characters.
Yeah.
What is a day in the life look like for you when you're doing that?
Well, I'm leaving after I get the kids. I'm going to drop them off with the babysitter, and then I'm going to go do more Adventure Time because they're doing Fiona and Cake. It's like the female version of Adventure Time, but I'm playing Ice Queen in that.
Incredible.
So I'm going to be doing that later on today. So I took the morning off to be with you, but I would have probably done, like tomorrow I have the Simpsons table read, and then and then Loud House, and then I'm get the kids, then take them to the babysitter, and I usually do about 2 or 3 things a day.
How many takes do you do of all the lines? that you
3.
record? Is that what's normally done?
I usually just give them 3, and then sometimes I'll go, you know what, just do 2 because it's hard. It's hard to pick,
Because you're so good at it? Is that why?
Yeah.
You gave us too many good options.
It is true that when you're doing music, there's some people who want to do so many takes, and I'm like, you're going to not enjoy editing this later. Just get 2 good ones, and that way you can just go A, B, and it just makes your life easier.
What is your most difficult voice to do?
Well, I had to back out of something what was it called? Shark Boy or Shark?
Shark Boy and Lava Girl?
No. It was on Nickelodeon, I think. Shark Dog? Yeah, Shark Dog. It was like this kid who like brings home this shark as a pet, but it's like part dog. I don't know. It was cute. But I
started out doing the kid, but just after a long time, I was just like, oh man.
I mean, it was just like,
Yeah.
I didn't realize how he had like so many lines. So they ended up getting a real kid to do it. So yeah, who actually talked like that. And thank goodness it only lasted. Well, it was just a pilot. So I did the kid in the pilot, and I thought, just a pilot. What are the chances it's going to get picked up? Because I played the mom too and the kid. And I was just like, I told them, I was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't know how hard this is going to be, and I can't do it. And so I felt bad. Because sometimes if I know I can't do something in an audition, I think, you're loving this now, but I'm not going to be able to keep this up for a whole episode. So I've said, I know you're really leaning toward this, and I want this part so bad, but I don't want to like sell you a bill of goods and then not be able to deliver on this. So
it sounds like you were doing that voice a lot for a lot of different takes. How many hours does it usually take to like record a scene for, or is it different depending on it?
Well, each session for each show is from 9 to 1 and then 2 to 6. That was how it used to be when we used to record all together.
Okay.
So you'd only really do 2 shows a day. But if you have more bookings, they would just get you in to do your stuff. So I guess, I'll go to the Loud House tomorrow, and it'll just be me. And since I play a lot of characters in the Loud House, but I'll probably still be out of there in about an hour and a half to do a whole episode with several characters. So I just do 3 takes of each. And because I've been working, the director, a lot of the directors that are in our business have been working with me since I was 21 years old. So it's like a shorthand. Like they can go,
They're like,
and I'm like, oh no,
you're
I know. Yeah. Or I'll go, oh, I should be more angry at the end, or not as, sometimes with cartoons, you have to be careful not to be too bitchy, because like the network will go, can they seem nicer? I tend to veer bitchy. I'm very snarky.
If you were to be a voice actor today, would you do anything differently?
No, I feel so blessed and lucky that I just made the turns that I started out in stand up, which is how I got into voiceover. And I'm so glad. I have so many friends who kept going with stand up, and they toured forever and they never were able to, they never put down roots anywhere. It doesn't pay well, stand up. I mean, it's if it's a passion, it's a passion, but like you stay in these crappy little comedy apartments, and it's just, I don't know. It's a hard life. But, so people who've done really well at it and gotten specials and all that stuff. I mean, but I have friends who have like Comedy Central specials and they're still struggling a little, So, but I'm glad that I did the cartoons instead, or like kind of veered off in that way. And because I stopped doing comedy for like 20 years and then I went back to it later. And now it doesn't matter that they don't pay anything because I'm able to sort of supplement the comedy and the music with the cartoons.
Yeah,
So.
It's sort of the same thing with music too, right?
Yeah, music doesn't pay that much either. I make money when I go to Europe, and I just went on a tour in Europe, so that was like, wow, money. Wow, this is amazing. Like I went to we were in this theater sound checking, and I was like, are people coming to this? And they were like, yeah, it's sold out. And I was like, wow, okay. Because I mean, in LA, we play like crappy little clubs that, and they're like, we can give you part of the door, and then if you take it, you're a jerk because the promoter's like, well, I guess I'm not getting any money because you took, I don't know. It's just, you're just like, please, can I play music? Can I please entertain people? I'll pay you. Yeah.
You also, I don't know, a lot of these characters, they require so much like emotion. Like even during Azula's big like meltdown that she had in like one of the best episodes. How did you find yourself getting into the emotion to like bring that out?
I just sort of live it. I just get inside of it, and there isn't really a lot of technique that happens. It's just mostly instinct, and I mean, I do have classical training, but there aren't. We used to break down a scene and go, "What's your fuel, and what is your your motivation, and what tactics are you going to use to get what you want in this scene?" I feel like you just learn those rules, and then they just sort of become second nature to you, so you don't think about it anymore. I think that it's good to know the rules and have them just be there, but it's sort of a combination between technique and instinct. But and I also have a lot of mental illness in my family, so I kind of drew from just seeing people have some sort of mental shifts and breakdown type stuff, and I had so much empathy for her during that. I started sobbing during that final Agni Kai, and I had to take a break because Andrea was so sweet. She was like, "Do you need a minute?" And I was like, because I was just like sobbing. I felt so bad for her. So
you also, you talked about it earlier with your family and like even your friends like Tara, even with Mark, your grandmother. Seems like there's a lot of people in your life that have helped you throughout it.
Yeah. I wish I'd say Mark helped me, but we're not that close. I love him and adore him. It was so funny because my son, we didn't do media because I don't do lots of TV. My kids go to a school where we don't do TV. So they don't really watch a lot of stuff. But my son met Mark a few times and he was like, is he something? He seems like he's someone. And I was like, he's someone. But I was like, I think you're the only 8-year-old boy on the planet that doesn't know who that is. But he's always been so supportive of my son. Just my oldest, because he's an artist, and Mark's like, how's Tex doing? Well, I had a drama teacher who really believed in me along the way, and I had a lot of my friend's grandmother sort of took me in. I had a sort of a hostile, chaotic household growing up. I was raised in a very religious family, Pentecostal, and they would cast out demons in the living room, and it was very dogmatic and very like oppressive. And so I couldn't wait to leave. I'm repairing the relationship with that, with that part of my family slowly, but yeah, so I don't want to talk about people that aren't here, but so it was hard. But I did have a lot of great people that came in and were great. My grandmother, for one, was just wonderful and kind of scooped me out of there. And then I ended up taking care of her when she she actually ended up living with that same family later on, and it wasn't going well for her there either. I came back for Comic-Con, and she was like, I said, come to LA with me for a week, and I'll, she would come up and visit quite a bit, and I would just drive her up with me whenever I was down in San Diego. I would come pick her up. And she was like really quiet, and she was like telling me about living there and how miserable she was. And I was thinking, I know how that is. I lived there. It's terrible. You're going to come with me. And I was like, you're just going to live with me. And she was like, well, and I was like, yeah, we don't need to. Well, she's like, buy clothes. I was like, well, buy you new clothes. You don't need to go back there. You're fine. So I kept her for the last 3 years of her life, and she had a ball. But yeah, so it was great to get, she kind of rescued me, and then I kind of rescued her. So
Yeah, based on like hearing your story, it sounds like she was a big motivator for you.
yeah. Well, I have friends who are like really negative about their kids. Like they're like, you're not gonna, you need to try harder. You need to, and I'm like, lighten up, they're like, but they need to know now, like the world's not going to be kind to them. I'm like, I know, that's why you need to be really nice to them, because let the world beat them up. Their home should be where they're like a shining light, So I was so fooled by my grandmother. She just built me up so much that when I moved to LA and everybody told me no, a lot of people were like, a lot of people want to do that. And I was like, okay, well, I want to do it more than everybody else.
That's right.
So I mean, I just had this like blind faith in myself, because I was like, grandma thinks I'm great, so I'm probably great, I just had an unshakable faith in myself. Yeah.
That's amazing.
But yeah, if you tear your kid down before they even get out the door, then when the world does it too, they're going to be like, yeah, everybody's right. Even my own mother thinks I'm terrible. So, I don't know. So I did that. But of course, I really do think my kids are amazing. And my oldest is an incredible artist.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, he sells his paintings for, he makes a living selling his art.
Incredible.
And he got a scholarship to SVA in New York,
Wow.
School of Visual Arts. And he's there and just, he was the Louvre did a special exhibition sort of adjacent to the Louvre that invited him. He was on the cover of the LA Times art section, and he's been like just taking, but I've always like everything he's done. I'm like, oh my God. But I really do believe it. He's so good. TexHammond.com.
Shout out.
Tex Hammond. Yeah.
You've also been a ton of other iconic characters. Daphne Blake.
Yes.
One of your mentors.
Yes.
Originally.
Yeah. Jeepers, it's a creepy mystery, you guys. That was one that, because people go, oh, you do voiceover, anything I would know. And that's one that you can always pull out for any old person on the
everyone
street.
knows that
Everyone
one.
knows Scooby-Doo. Even when I got pulled over for a traffic violation, and I was crying, because the thing is, I didn't know I was being pulled over. I don't know. Sometimes I don't get things the way other people get things. Like they were like, why wouldn't you think? And I was like, well, because they had said, anyway, they had their lights on. So
Okay.
then I was like, oh, I'm being pulled over. So then they said, do not pull over. And I guess they said like pull off on the next exit, because I guess it's dangerous to pull over when on the road. So they wanted me to, but I heard the do not pull over, and I was like, oh, they must be just like shutting down the freeway, I guess. I don't know. But then, it turned into a low speed chase. I didn't know I was being low speed chased, because they could have just said pull over again. But they didn't do that.
They got pull over.
Yeah, I kept going. They did say do not pull over, right? I mean, I don't know. And so then finally they were like, they tackled me to the ground, and like I was sobbing. Yeah, I had handcuffs on, like face down on the thing. They had like all these like helicopters, and they were about to put the spike strips out. I was like, rather than getting on the thing one more time and going pull over, I would have pulled over had you ever for one other time told me to pull over. Anyway. I think they just get bored and they want to do stuff. They're like, haven't brought the helicopters out in a while. I'm not anti-cop completely. I have a lot of cops in my family, but there are some that are just bored and want to do something. So anyway, but then when I was sobbing, he was like, where are you coming from? And I was like, oh my God. Because I was coming up from San Diego. I wasn't even I was speeding like 5 miles over the speed limit, and then it turned into a huge thing. And then he was like, oh, really? What voice? What are you doing down there? And I was like, I do cartoon voices. And he was like, what do you do? And I was like, Daphne on Scooby-Doo. And then he said he's like, I've never heard of it. He was being a jerk. And I was thinking, you're the only one who's never heard of it.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I was like, just being a jerk. Anyway.
Yeah, one of your mentors, Mary Kay Bergman.
Yeah.
I think it's one thing to create your own character. I think it's one to continue that on. How is that?
Well, continuing it on for somebody who you loved so much and who ended their life in such a tragic way. I did not want to read on that part. I just was so devastated by her passing. And her husband said, Grace, she prepared you for this. She's the one who taught you how to voice match. She would have wanted you to take over the role. But it just seemed so wrong, because it was like really close to after she passed. But they were like, we have a deadline. We have stuff we need to finish. And I'm like, it was just so weird. But I just said, Mary Kay, I'm going to go and read this. I'm not going to study your voice or anything, but I'm going to go in and do my best. And the engineer said, Gray, when you were reading, we just had goosebumps. It sounded just like Mary Kay. It was like she was there. And I was like, I really think she was, because I said, this is like all your deal. But I went to a medium later, and he said, there's a woman here. You have a very weird job. I don't know what it is. I've never read anybody with this job, but there's a woman here who had that job, and she was a friend of yours. And I was like, yes. And he was like, she has this little plant in her hands, and I'm seeing her hand it to you, and in your hands, it's grown into this really big plant. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, so she just wanted to tell you that she loves you and she's so proud of you.
That's
of what you done. And I was just like, it was really amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was because I've always felt like I don't want to celebrate it too much, because it's like, yeah, so glad, but I feel blessed by that part. It has, been 26 years of, feeding my kids from that part, so, but I feel her with me all the time. Like, I just feel like she's like one of my little guardian angels. So.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you said earlier the word voice matching.
Yeah.
Is that just like hearing a voice and trying to do it?
Yeah. And she was just so good at that. Like she could do any accent, and she was just really dedicated. She had this little tape recorder, and she would always, learning new accents, or just like, she was very, I'm just sort of it'll work out. It's fine. Instincts, but she was very, very methodical and worked so hard. She was one of those people that just like, she was really brilliantly talented and she worked really hard. I feel like there's two schools. There's like really naturally talented, and then there's people who work really hard. And a lot of times the hard workers will pass up the just natural talents, But if you've got both, forget it.
Next level.
So yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah. She was the original Timmy on Fairly Odd Parents too.
I heard that.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And all the women on South Park. And my best friend April ended up taking over the South Park parts. So, yeah.
I saw an interview that those that Trey and Matt had to do when they talked about like how like meaningful and how great she was, and how they literally couldn't even do the show after that happened because it was just so difficult.
Yeah, she was incredible and just such a lovely, wonderful person. I did the voice of Pirate Red on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, and she loved the Pirates of the Caribbean. It was like her favorite ride, and she was a redhead. And when I got a call back for it, I was like, oh my gosh, Mary Kay, this should be you. I feel weird being here. This is your part. They even called her Red, she would have just, and so I felt her going, prepare, because she was always more prepared than I ever was. And so I was thinking, prepare what? It's like one line. And it really was. It was just like, they want the rum, don't they, boys? That was all it was. And so I was like, I'm off book, Mary Kay. Like, I've got it memorized. But I was feeling her saying like, well, just look into something. Like, just what else could you do? And I was thinking, I guess I could like look up pirate stuff. I don't know. So I went online and I was like, oh, pirate slang. And I learned a bunch of pirate slang because I was just waiting out there for a long time. And it was only between me and like maybe 4 or 5 other women. And when I got in there, they were like, I know it's just one line, but, we're just going to have you improv for a while, like maybe 45 minutes or so of improv. 45 minutes of improv off of one line. If I had not done all that research out there, I would have been just floundering around. Like, what else do you say? And so I had all this pirate slang up my sleeve. So they're like, wow, you know a lot about pirates. And I was like, it's my thing. I love pirates. But I was thinking, thank you, Mary Kay, because I would not have been as prepared. And then I called her husband that day and I said, I just read on something and I felt Mary Kay with me. And she should have been this character. I can't say what it is, but she should have been. And he goes, well, by hook or by crook, I hope you get the part. And I went, oh my God. I go, the fact that that's what you just said is amazing. And he goes, what do you mean? And I go, if you knew what I was reading on, it's just amazing that you said that. And then when I found out I got the part, it was actually I called him to tell him I got the part, and I told him what it was. And he's like, do you know what the date is today? It's the anniversary of her passing. So I just always feel like she's just like with me, just always with me.
Oh my God.
So
wow.
Yeah.
And to carry on the legacy.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
You also, one of my other favorite shows, Danny Phantom.
Well, yeah, Sam on Danny Phantom. We would go ghost together all the time when you were little.
Yeah, Sam. That show is still so popular.
Yeah.
I found Tucker on Instagram because I said, hey, I don't know what you're up to right now, but we've been doing these conventions every weekend, and I think you could do pretty well if we could get the whole group back together, me and you and Danny and Jazz. And he was like, do people care about that show? And I was like, yeah, they really do. They would go crazy. Yeah, so I got him. He's going to do some appearances with us.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I signed him up with our con agent.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Other shows and other types of media that you've been a part of, it's like Catwoman. That one really stands out.
Yeah.
Mandy, Grim Adventures.
Yeah, whatever. I still do those conventions with Billy all the time, too. They put him right next to me. He's an idiot.
But he's one of my best friends, Richard Horvitz. I still love him so much.
I think you might have said this earlier, but I'm just curious. Like, you have so many iconic voices. What would you say is your process to finding the right voice with it?
The laugh, first of all, because I feel like that's like sort of where it all starts. And I try to be different. I mean, after so many voices, it's hard to make them different every time. Sometimes people come up and go, this one character sounds a little bit like the other. And I'm like,
there's
dude,
like 2,000.
I'm like,
How do you differentiate them?
Yeah, like sometimes you're just like, can there be a teeth? Maybe I could do sort of like it's just like a teeth thing, or make it sound a little bit heavier or something. I don't know. You know, just like you're just like I'm just trying anything to seem different. But that's why paying attention to other people and the way they talk, or if I hear a really interesting voice, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like I should use that. That would be a good voice. I'm on King of the Hill. I'm playing a lot of like different Karen type, like incidental. I mean, I have a part, but I don't think I can say what it is yet. But I play like a lot of upset Texan women, you know, or just like women, Texan women, you know, just in at stores or whatever. And I've been watching Karen videos on, you know, on YouTube, just going like, oh, this is perfect, because they're usually from the South. I'm not going to put up with this. Who are you? You know, just like.
Just watching compilations.
Yeah,
of
yeah.
Karen.
Give
That's
my damn
hilarious.
pizza right now. You know.
I love that. So you also aren't just a voice actress, stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
You're also Grammy-winning artist. Tell me about everything you've got involved with music. Tell me about your music. I want to hear about it.
Oh my gosh. I've been writing songs since I was like 5 years old. So my mom was a musician. My grandmother sang with Tito Puente, the Latin band leader. And so there's always been music around the house. And my uncles played guitar, and we would always, like at family gatherings, we would all sing. And my brother plays guitar, and he and I did music together for a while. And so it's just like second nature. And that's my big passion is music. Like, and I feel like I'm a pretty darn good songwriter. I've been writing songs with Paul. Well, I just finished a song with Paul Williams, who like wrote like Rainbow Connection, and you know,
That's crazy.
And We've Only Just Begun. And like, he's just, I think he's probably one of the biggest the great American songwriter.
Definitely.
Besides, you know, Cole Porter. Yeah, so I've been working with people that I just admire so much, and I'm about to go do a record with John Carter Cash, Johnny Cash and June's son. Yeah, in Nashville, or not, actually, it's actually outside Nashville, but it's at the Cash Cabin, which is outside of Nashville, and I'm working with people that are just unbelievable. Like I'm a big fan of Rodney Crowell, who plays with Emmylou Harris, and he was married to he produced 7 Year Ache, you know, Roseanne Cash.
Okay. Yeah.
He was married to Roseanne Cash, but anyway, he's a great songwriter, and he has this camp, and I got to meet him, and
Like a writing camp.
it's like a songwriting camp.
Nice.
Yeah. And so I've met so many great songwriters through that, and they've invited me to be part of things that they've done. And he said, here's my personal email. Send me any songs you have. Like, because at the end of the camp, your fellow campers would vote for whoever would get to perform at the end. And I've gotten to perform. And I've gone 3 years in a row. I've gotten voted to perform at the end. And my very first time I did a song, it was called Don't Let Go of My Hand. You can find it on YouTube. It's a little sneak peek from this double album that I'm putting out in March. But it's about my grandmother and the last, you know, her growing up, her raising me, and then saying goodbye to her at the end. And because when I would hold her hand when we would cross the street, I would go, don't, you know, hold my hand. And she would go, I used to say that to you when you were little, and now you're saying it to me. So it's sort of like about the tables turning, you know. But the very first time I performed that for Rodney Crowell and the guy who discovered the Dixie Chicks, and they gave me like a standing ovation for that song. So he said, here's my email, send me songs anytime and I'll give you feedback. And so I send him songs when I write them, and he says, you should change this word, or that is a little clunky, or, you know, and it's amazing to have this like person that I've always admired. Like I have his email, it's right here. And then I started hosting a show on RFD Network with Ray Benson, who fronts a band called The Sleep at the Wheel. He's like best friends with Willie Nelson. He's been doing it for 50 years. And so we do that. And it's funny because he always likes to, when we're interviewing music people, he's like, you know, she's on The Simpsons, you know, she does Daphne and Scooby-Doo. And they're like, what? You know, and people that I'm like, I just love a lot of the songwriters are on there. I'm like a big fan of. And then for them to go, whoa, my kids walked out or whatever. And it's like, like I was fanning after them and then for them to go, wait, what? And so it's kind of fun I like to be able to, I like not being recognizable, but to be able to go, do you watch, like if you want to impress someone.
This is something I have
There's
done.
a little rabbit out of my hat, yeah, but it's fun. So, so then I've been touring around with the music and I had signed to a label called Sugar Hill and gotten a lot of success in Europe. And then I lost my noodle for a little while and I could not go on stage. I got this debilitating stage fright. And I had to cancel a huge European tour. I left my label, and I used to write songs like every day, and the song portal shut. I always tell my son because he's an artist, so I said, don't you feel like it's like a portal, like you just dip into it, and it's like, wow, oh my gosh, that's things. Oh my gosh, look at this is amazing, And as long as you reach your hand in, there's always something there. And I was like, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, where's the portal? Like. I just there was no inspiration for write songs. I just thought, oh man, it's gone. It's just gone. And it had been something that was a part of my life. So after when the pandemic started, I had my brother move in with me because he kind of lost his place and everything kind of went sideways. And he was like, I'm going to bring my guitar. We should, since we're doing nothing, we're just staying home. Let's just write some and I go, I haven't even played anything in ages. I haven't written a song in, 15 years. And I wouldn't even know where to start. And he's like, well, let's just play. We'll play covers or something. So we started playing music and it was just like that night because I used to dream songs and then wake up and then call myself on my phone and leave myself voicemails of the song. Now there's voice memos. Yeah. Oh my God. My voice memos are full. But yeah, so I was like, I think, oh my gosh. And so I sang it and then I sent it to my brother in the morning and he's like, that's great. I love that. Oh my God. And then the next night and then the next night. And I think I've written 200 songs since 2020. So yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I put out a covers album to sort of like get the ball rolling again. And then I put out a song called, a record called She's an Angel. And then I just put out a record called Driftless Girl that was produced by Jolie Holland, who's a wonderful indie artist. And I did a duet with Buck Meek, who's in a band called Big Thief, which they've got millions and millions and millions of Spotify followers. And so I'm just the little engine that could, but my Spotify listeners are going up and up and up. So yeah. So at cons, I'm always like, will you please follow me on Spotify? I know you don't. People are so nice too. They're like, yeah, I'll follow you on Spotify. So follow me on Spotify is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Speaking of that, is there anything you wanted to promote?
Just Spotify.
Where can they find you?
Just Gray DeLisle on Spotify and also on Apple Music. And I'm on all the things, all the streaming services.
What can they expect from your music?
Well, people oftentimes will say, you remind me of Dolly Parton. It's because I write story songs mostly.
Awesome.
So, it's sort of a Johnny Cash, Dolly Parton kind of quality to it.
Those are really great artists to be compared to. That's awesome.
I can't say much about it, but Dolly is aware of me. And she's working on some projects, and I might be involved at some point. I'm not sure yet. I had to turn something down because I had plans with my children, and I was like, but
family comes first.
Yeah, it's true, but Dolly comes second.
True. Yes. It's interesting. I talk to a lot of people in music, and they always talk about what you said earlier, this idea of like song portal, or like music just kind of comes to them. Chris Martin famously talks about how songs just come to him; they don't come out of him, which is really interesting.
I always think of it as like birth. And sometimes I have to capture it. It's like catching a baby or something. It's like, oh my gosh, it's coming. And if you don't get it, it just, I feel like someone else gets the baby,
That's, like famously, I think like Michael Jackson or Prince like felt that way. And like, if Michael had an idea for a song, he famously had to stop whatever he was doing, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., didn't matter. He had to go record it, or else like Prince would get it or something.
Oh, how
Prince
funny. I've never heard that, but I recorded it into my phone because there have been times, been times where I'm like, I'll remember that, and you're just not gonna remember it. And I've tried to recapture it and I'm like, it's not the same. It's not like it was.
No,
it was really way better than this.
It's a problem.
Yeah.
So I guess you've done so much in your career. What is a piece of advice you have for anyone out there who wants to get into voice acting, music, comedy, or just creative entertainment industry?
I just say create your own stuff. Like, don't let anybody be in charge of. Sorry. See. I don't know anything about mics. I told him earlier they were trying to adjust the mics, and they said you can just grab it and do that. And
Do you
when
have
you're-
the mic like for your own setup now? Like, do
well,
you do
I
that?
did for a while, but I literally, the guy set it up and said, do not touch anything. Just leave it like that. Don't touch it or else it's going to mess up. And so I never touched it. But at work, like if I've never touched my own microphone because it's a union thing, and the engineer will be really mad if you touch the microphone because it's
That's
some
so
kind of
interesting.
union problem. But yeah, so I was like, touch the microphone. He had to come over here and do it. But what was it? What were we saying?
Piece of advice.
Piece
for
of advice.
anyone.
Oh yeah. Create your own content. Like the woman I'm doing some things for Hell of a Boss, like, and you know the Has Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss.
Yeah.
That woman. She's only like 30 years old, and she sort of has made her own rules and started made her own thing, and then the studios came begging to her to be part of what she was doing. So I just feel like if you build it, they will come. Like, you know, if you're like, I wanted to be in songwriting circles, but it's really hard to get in. It's like it's a very tight knit thing, and especially Nashville. It's like so. I thought, you know what, I'm going to make my own song swap. So I started making my own song swap, and then inviting people who I like really admire,
awesome.
and then they hear me sing my songs, and then they're like, I love that. Hey, do you want to come to Texas and do ours? Hey, do you want to come to Nashville and do ours? You know, so I got in that way by making my own thing.
Have you also? I'm just random question. Have you also done any like singing for voiceover work too?
Well, yeah, Daphne. That's a funny thing. That's a weird thing for Spotify because a lot of my cartoon songs are on my Spotify. Like the Music Meister, I played Black Canary with, and so it's me and Neil Patrick Harris singing.
That's
you know,
sick.
and so my guy was like, we should get rid of all these cartoon songs. I was like, we can't. The fans will be so mad. They love it. They're like, oh my god, I love the Music Meister. And then I sing Trap of Love. You know, it's Daphne sings this song with the Hex Girls called Trap of Love, and people love that. And so I was like, we can't get the computer stuff. I mean, the cartoon stuff has to stay on there because my fans like my music and the cartoon music. And if we want to merge the cartoon people with the music people, they're going to have to tolerate each other. But it was funny because around the holidays, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm really getting successful. Like I had like 100,000 monthly listeners on
Wow.
Spotify. Normally I have about 30,000, which I was like, I was impressed, but then it was going up and up and up every day. And it turned out it was because people love the Christmas with a Monkey song from Curious George. So people were playing that.
That's
And
love.
I was like, boy, after that Christmas is among after Christmas, that sort of dropped off, and I realized I went back and looked at my analytics, and I was like, oh, we can't get rid of the cartoons because it gives me a false sense of security.
Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. This
It
was so much fun.
legitimately means the world. You know, when I started this series, my goal was to shine a light on the people and stories behind music, movies, and media, but it was also to inspire every underdog to go for it. I think you have an incredible story. I'm so honored to have you as, you know, this is my first time talking to a voice actor and also like everything else. So to have one of the most iconic voice actors of all time is such an honor. Thank you so much for being a part of this. This is a handwritten thank you.
Do I read it or
You,
no?
you can read it later. You don't
It
have
would
to
be
read
very
it
funny if I was like, what? Oh no! so naughty, so embarrassing. No.
I love it.
Thank you. I'll read it.
Any final pieces that you want to add or say or anything at all?
Gosh. Just make your own stuff. People will come to you, like people that start their own YouTube channel or Twitch channel, or where they're like, I want to do this thing. And if you're really good at it, people will find you. And then then you're going to be in the driver's seat when the big and also you don't need, like, I don't need a label. I'm not going to sign with a record label. I used to want to do that. Now I don't
you
even
can
have a
just be
booking agent.
independent.
I booked myself. I had a booking agent, and bless them, but there was a lot of like miscommunication where they're like, oh, well, you know, they turned us down. We wanted you to do this thing and they said it was not good enough or whatever. And I'm like, well, I would have done that, you know, and just like this thing. Oh, sorry. Not that your thing wouldn't be big enough, but like, I don't want somebody else to make the decision about whether I do something or not.
Yeah.
I want it, and I like it that people can come directly to me and ask me to be part of things or not. voiceover wise, I do have a lovely agent who I really trust, and I've been working with her for 30 years. But for all the music stuff, people know that they can just reach out to me, and if it's something that I want to be a part of, it doesn't matter about the money or whatever. Like if I want to be a part of it, I'll be part of it, and I don't want there to be a gatekeeper there, you know. So create your own stuff, and people will find you, and then you'll be in the driver's seat, and you don't need some big corporation to back you or whatever. People will champion you. Like even the Critical Role people, like they wanted to make their own cartoon, and they did a Kickstarter that made like $4 million in a day, and now they made good content like what you did, and people found you.
100%.
Yay! Follow me on Spotify. the corporate giant.
Facts. Thank you so much, Gray, for being a part of my childhood, their childhood, everyone's childhood.
Your childhood and your childhood and your
and now our adulthoods.
Yes, I'm not going anywhere. I have so much more to do in cartoons and everything.
Do you want to take us out in your favorite character in any character you've
Well,
done?
I'm playing Martin Prince on The Simpsons now, too, so watch out for more Simpsons. They're coming.
I love it. Thank you so much for watching Behind the Wall. See you next time.
Bye.
Amazing.
So much fun. Thank you
you,
so
Gray.
much. You were just a delight, and I'm gonna